How should a person of faith live in a scientific and educational environment? And things have changed over time. When I started my career as an assistant professor 30 years ago. And I was 28 years old when I started my career, and these things were much less of an issue. In other words, they would not have affected my career. What I believe in my Bible life, what I believe about things, and whether I accept certain theories or not, as a chemist, it didn't affect me at all. I had my own little chemistry world. It's becoming harder and harder to live, I think, as a believer on a secular college campus, because professors will use information that is incomplete, and they will attack people and say these things are fact, and it makes it very hard on those who come from a different background. So in other words, it's very hard for students to stand and to take the message that I have said today and to go and to stand in their evolutionary biology class. Their professors will call them out and really try to cut this thing down, and sometimes they feel that they don't have the knowledge to really battle with this person. I'll be glad to battle with this person and to call out what I know is incomplete in their theories. I think I gave a lot of credence to universal common descent, of how good it really is when you stay within that 1.5%. But it's becoming harder and harder, and that's why I think that as Christians, as young people in a secular university, if you want to walk with Christ, it is very important to have community around you, because the attack is coming much harder than it ever did. I never had a professor call me out on things that I believed. I never did. Back in my day, and I never had this sort of thing happen to me. But it does happen today, and people are made out to be idiots, to be stupid if they don't buy into certain mantra. And it's not just origin of life and evolution. There are other political hot topics that if you don't agree with the masses, that you can be really picked on. So I believe that if you want to walk as a believer, it's important to have community and to have other believers around you. And then they can help you to secure the resources, because there are people like me. I'm not the only one. We're a small number of us, but there are a growing number of professors that are calling the community out on these issues. And I know the chemistry very well. Origin of life, nobody will know this better than me. So I can understand the chemistry very well. I'm not a biologist, so I talk about what I know in biology. But there are evolutionary biologists who believe very much like I do that the evidence just isn't there. And they are doing to biology what I am doing to chemistry. You know, and so the community can refer you to these people, and that can give you strength in the midst of this. Because really, when the so-called experts are confronted, and I've seen this in my own life. I was brought up on a podium with somebody who was a so-called expert in evolutionary sciences. And I got done with a presentation which was not terribly unlike this. And we each were given 40 minutes. And he only spoke for 20 minutes and finally said, "Give science a chance." And so when they are confronted by other experts who call them out, they're very different. They act very different than the way that they'll call out a student. You see what I mean? There's a differential of power that people in my position will execute toward other people that is unfair and is not right and should not be there. And then when they're confronted with an equal in power, then their response is very different. Just like I said to you, that all of my colleagues that I have confronted them on this in privacy of my own office have agreed with me. That's what I'm talking about. And so I think we need community. And with that, I'll end it, and I thank you so much for inviting me.